thank you all for attending this lecture series on positive discipline. This is a subject that is very dear to my heart. For the last 17 years, I've been teaching and found positive discipline to work more effectively than negative discipline. I am sure you as parents and teachers have seen the positive effects of positive discipline through the children's wonderful work at school and at home. Seeing is believing. It has also been statistically proven that discipline works more effectively than negative discipline. The current research supports the positive discipline model. This model is based on mutually respectful relationships at home, school, and within the community. As recently as 2003, research done by the National Center for Educational Statistics clearly shows that young people do better when they perceive both firmness and kindness from their parents. Other studies have correlated teens' perception of parenting that is both firm and kind and has improved academic performance. In addition, a young child's sense of connection at home and at school also increases academic success. As Montessori teachers and parents, it is important to know that Maria Montessori implemented positive discipline as far back as the late 1800s, when she had her first school, Casa dei Bambini. This method is still used today with very effective results. Since we are all part of a Montessori school, it is important that we collectively understand how positive discipline works. Positive discipline should be used on a daily basis consistently. I have a student last year who had a hard time controlling himself. This year we have implemented more positive disciplining, and as a result, he's doing much better both academically, socially, and emotionally. He continued to be rebellious in class last year with no self-control. This year I've been using positive discipline along with our other TAs, and we have seen a huge difference in this child. He is now what we refer to as normalized. What does normalized mean? Normalization refers to the focus, concentration, and independence of the children by their own choice. In other words, when they choose to be good and when they choose to behave, it's actually better than us telling them what they need to do. They need to hear it from their own heart. It means they have acquired the internal freedom to initiate work, be independent, and adhere to the rules of the environment. Using positive discipline facilitates the process of normalization by offering engaging materials and activities and redirecting the children rather than telling them what they need to be doing. A great example of effectively using positive discipline is when you give a child several choices after the child has misbehaved. In other words, you can say, stop doing that, we're not doing that anymore, I'm just taking it away from you, which in the end doesn't really work. A better way to handle this is to say, you have two choices. You can either behave properly and work with this properly, or we can just remove this activity and we'll do something else today. It's your choice. Would you rather work on it, or would you rather not work on it? And 9 out of 10 times they're always going to choose to work on the activity that they've been working on and choose to do it properly. Children would rather be good than defiant, as we all know. They want to be helpers of their community and feel proud of their work. Positive discipline reinforces this within children. Normalized children are happier, more enthusiastic, more generous, and helpful to others. They make constructive choices, and their work and behavior reflects this level of development. I have seen through all my years of teaching that when you use positive reinforcement for disciplining, the children become more independent, and independence is what we strive for. We can see this through the examples such as when the children clean up after themselves or after they have a snack. It makes more sense for them to do it themselves because we're not always going to be around to do it for them, and the sooner they learn it, the better they are for it, and the better they feel about themselves. Children, as I stated before, would much rather do for themselves than do for others. They want to be helpers rather than be helped. Also remember, when a parent or teacher speaks to a child in a calm voice, they will mimic this behavior in return. By yelling at the child, they only become less cooperative and they think badly about themselves. And the last thing we want to do is for any child to think badly about themselves because it lowers their self-esteem. And what we want to do is build their self-esteem. So by using positive reinforcement, we're also helping to build their self-esteem and independence. The child will become more curious as well, and they want to learn more about the task at hand. So in other words, if we do everything for them, we zip their coat for them, we're constantly doing for them, we're constantly telling them, you need to do this rather than that, they'll never learn for themselves. And what we really want to do here is have it come from their heart. So when we give them two choices, would you rather misbehave and do it like this, or would you rather do it the right way and use materials correctly, therefore you continue to use them? Not only are they raising their own self-esteem, but they're becoming more independent. And independence is a big factor in the Montessori environment. So throughout this lecture today, I've relayed the message regarding positive discipline among children, reiterating when you give a child two choices, they will always choose the positive over the negative. As a mother and as an educator myself, it is my intention that with this information given today, that you will continue to reinforce positive discipline at home and at school. As I stated earlier, if you treat a child with respect, they will return the same respect back. They are mirror images of what we give them. Positive feedback from the adult always results in the child given the tools to give positive feedback and positive behavior in return. Whatever we say, they repeat it. However we act, they act. If we're loud, they're loud. If we're not using the materials properly, they're not using the materials properly. If we yell at other students, they yell at other students. If we yell at each other, they yell at each other. They are mirror images of what they see on a daily basis. So as parents and teachers and educators, we need to reinforce what the behavior that we are looking for from them. They will see it in us and they'll reflect it back. We want our children to have enthusiasm for life. Giving children positive tools will help them reach their highest potential academically, socially, emotionally, and developmentally. In other words, it doesn't have to be harsh. It just has to be effective. I want to thank you all for joining me here today. And if you have any questions or concerns about what we spoke about, I would love to have an interactive session about this now. Thank you. Any questions? How do you find effective, how do you find what works in your class and what doesn't?
The choice.
The choice, absolutely, the choice. Yeah, and if you give them, in other words, okay, what works better? When you see a child running across the room and you say, stop running, or does walk sound better?
Walk sound.
And don't tell me what I want to hear, tell me what you want, tell me what you have experienced in the class. Walk is better. It works better.
Much better.
Right? If a child is working on, like this math, and then somebody else comes over and bombards it, how do we handle that?
Well,
Reintroduce them to something else. That is what works more effectively than anything. You know, by saying to them, stop doing that! What are you doing? It's only going to freak the child out, and they're not going to know. Then they don't have a direction. What is it that they're supposed to be doing? How are they supposed to be handling it? But by us giving them a redirection and giving them an option, then at the end of the day, they've made their own choice about how to behave. We haven't made it for them. So, again, I want to thank you all for coming, and I hope you have an enjoyable day. Turn it off.